We feel it every day, every moment. Gravity. It's a silent force that controls our lives. We often don't notice it, but it's always there. It's the invisible force that keeps our feet on the ground. Without it, we'd be floating in the air, without any support, lost. It's what makes things fall. From the apple that inspired Newton to the everyday things we drop, gravity is the reason they come back down to Earth. It's what causes the tides. The moon's gravitational pull interacts with Earth, causing the rhythmic rise and fall of our oceans. Gravity is Earth's constant companion. It's been with us since the beginning of time, shaping our planet and guiding its movements through the universe, a powerful force that shapes our world. From the highest mountains to the deepest valleys, gravity sculpts the very landscape we live on. Gravity is a fundamental force of the universe. It governs the motion of planets, stars, and galaxies, holding the cosmos together in a delicate balance. It attracts all objects with mass towards each other. This universal attraction is what keeps us grounded and holds the universe together in its intricate dance. The more mass an object has, the stronger its gravitational pull. This is why planets orbit stars and moons orbit planets, each pulled by the other's gravity. Earth's gravity is what keeps our atmosphere in place. Without it, the air we breathe would drift away, leaving our planet barren and lifeless. It's what keeps our oceans from floating off into space. The vast bodies of water that cover our planet are held in place by gravity's unwavering grip. Imagine a basketball and a marble. The difference in their size and mass shows how gravity works on different scales. Earth is like the basketball and we are like the tiny marble. Earth's huge size gives it a strong gravitational pull, keeping us and everything else on its surface. The basketball's size gives it a stronger pull on the marble, keeping it close. That's the magic of gravity. This simple analogy helps us understand the complex interactions of gravitational forces. Without gravity, there would be no up or down. In a world without this force, our sense of direction and balance would be completely lost. Our very existence depends on this invisible force. From the way we walk to the way we grow, gravity influences every aspect of our lives. But what if, in a strange twist of fate, Earth lost its gravity? The consequences would be devastating. Our atmosphere would disappear. The oceans would drift into space, and life, as we know it, would cease to exist. Gravity isn't just a force, it's the glue that holds our world together. Let's imagine the unimaginable. Earth's gravity vanishes in an instant without warning. The consequences would be nothing short of catastrophic and terrifying. The fabric of our world would unravel. Chaos would reign. Imagine yourself suddenly weightless. You would begin to float just like the objects around you, defying gravity. Cars, buildings, even the oceans, everything would lift off the ground. Earth would become a surreal spectacle of objects suspended in midair. Once familiar streets would transform into chaotic rivers of floating debris. Buildings would crumble, their foundations no longer tethered to the ground. It would be a scene from a disaster movie, but all too real. But this is just the beginning of this nightmare. The loss of gravity would trigger a terrifying chain reaction, with consequences far beyond our comprehension. Our atmosphere, a delicate blanket of gases, is held in place by Earth's gravity. This thin layer makes life on our planet possible, creating a unique environment where diverse ecosystems can thrive. From the highest mountains to the deepest oceans, every living creature depends on this protective layer. It provides us with air to breathe, shields us from harmful radiation, and regulates our climate. The atmosphere acts as a shield, absorbing and reflecting the sun's ultraviolet rays, which would otherwise be lethal to most life forms. It also plays a crucial role in weather patterns, ensuring that rain nourishes our crops and maintains the balance of our ecosystems. Without it, life as we know it would cease to exist. Plants, animals, and humans would all struggle to survive in a world devoid of breathable air. The intricate web of life, evolved over millions of years, would unravel, leading to the collapse of entire ecosystems. Without the invisible hand of gravity holding it down, the atmosphere would simply float away into the vacuum of space. This wouldn't be an instantaneous process, but a gradual one, with the air thinning over time, making it increasingly difficult to sustain life. The air we breathe, our precious oxygen, would dissipate into the vast emptiness. This loss would be devastating, as oxygen is essential for cellular respiration in most living organisms. Without it, energy production within cells would grind to a halt, leading to the eventual death of all aerobic life forms. Every breath we take would be a step closer to suffocation. The human body, designed to function with a certain level of oxygen, would begin to fail. Symptoms of hypoxia or oxygen deprivation would set in, leading to confusion, loss of consciousness, and ultimately death. The sky would turn black. The familiar blue hue caused by the scattering of sunlight by atmospheric particles would vanish. Instead, we would see the bleak, unfiltered blackness of space, dotted with stars even during the day. As the atmosphere thinned, the familiar blue hue would fade away. This transformation would serve as a constant reminder of the fragility of our existence, highlighting the delicate balance that sustains life on Earth. Without the protective shield of the atmosphere, the sun's deadly radiation would bombard Earth's surface. Ultraviolet rays, X-rays, and other forms of high-energy radiation would penetrate unchecked, causing severe damage to living tissues and increasing the risk of cancer and other health problems. The loss of the atmosphere would be a death sentence for life on Earth. Unable to photosynthesize without carbon dioxide, plants would wither and die. Animals deprived of oxygen and food would follow suit, leaving behind a barren, lifeless landscape. The once vibrant blue planet would transform into a desolate, airless wasteland. The rich tapestry of life that once flourished would be replaced by a silent, empty world. A stark reminder of the importance of our atmosphere and the life it supports. Our bodies have evolved over millions of years to function under the constant pull of Earth's gravity. This invisible force shapes every aspect of our physical being, from the way we walk to the way our blood circulates. Gravity is the silent architect of our anatomy, influencing our bone density, muscle strength, and even our cardiovascular system. Our bone structure is designed to bear the weight of our bodies, and our muscles are conditioned to work against this constant force. Our hearts pump blood efficiently thanks to the pull of gravity. But in a gravity-free world, our bodies would become strangers to themselves. The absence of this fundamental force would trigger profound changes. Our bones, no longer required to support our weight, would begin to lose density. Our muscles, without the need to resist gravity, would weaken and atrophy. Astronauts living in the weightlessness of space experience muscle atrophy and bone loss. To counter these effects, they must engage in rigorous exercise routines, but even these measures can only slow the process, not stop it completely. The human body deprived of gravity begins to deteriorate in ways that are both dangerous and unavoidable. Without gravity to work against, our muscles would weaken and our bones would become brittle. This brittleness increases the risk of fractures and other injuries, making even simple movements potentially dangerous. The skeletal system, deprived of its usual stresses, begins to break down. Over time, we would become frail and susceptible to injuries. The longer we remained in a weightless environment, the more pronounced these effects would become. Our bodies, so well adapted for life on Earth, struggle to cope with the alien conditions of space. Our cardiovascular system, responsible for circulating blood throughout the body, would also be affected by the lack of gravity. The heart, which has evolved to pump blood against gravity, would find itself in an unfamiliar situation. Blood would no longer flow as it does on Earth, leading to potential complications. Without the downward pull, our blood would flow differently, potentially causing heart problems. The redistribution of fluids in the body could lead to swelling in the upper body and face, and over time the heart could become less efficient. These changes present significant challenges for long-duration space travel. The human body is resilient, but even its incredible adaptive capabilities have limits. While we can develop countermeasures to mitigate some of the effects of weightlessness, we cannot overcome them entirely. The resilience of the human body is remarkable, but it is not infinite. Life without gravity would be a constant struggle against our own physiology. Every system in our bodies, from our bones to our cardiovascular system, is designed to function in a gravitational environment. In the weightlessness of space, we are adrift, constantly battling the very essence of our physical being. Ecosystems in freefall. The intricate web of life on Earth is delicately balanced and interconnected, forming a complex system. Plants and animals depend on each other for survival, and gravity plays a crucial role in maintaining this delicate balance. But in a gravity-free world, ecosystems would collapse, throwing nature into utter disarray. Plants rely on gravity for root development and efficient water absorption. Without gravity's guidance, roots would grow in all directions, unable to anchor the plant or draw nutrients from the soil. Crops would fail, forests would wither and die. Animals too would face immense challenges in such a scenario. Birds would struggle to fly, losing their natural ability. Marine life would be scattered as the oceans drifted away from their natural currents. The delicate balance of nature would shatter, leading to mass extinctions and irreversible damage. Without gravity, Earth's ecosystems would unravel, leaving behind a barren and lifeless landscape.